सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये शृणुतां स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवण कीर्तनं हृदयन्तस्ते भद्रान् बुद्धिसुहृत्सतां नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु तं भागवतस्य वै हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे राम राम राम. So we are starting the third canto now, which in itself is a big achievement for everybody. How many years, Prabhu, now?
For almost 4 years now.
Wow, and the core members are still
Yes.
strongly attached to it. Fantastic.
Yes.
We started from 18 September 21.
Wow. So that was the corona passed away, we started this, something like that.
Yeah, it is exactly on the Saturday, 18 September 21, we started for the first time.
Oh, that's nice. I'm really happy that, you people have stuck to it because it requires a lot of patience as the cantos goes by. So, so we'll begin with the third canto today, praying to Lord Kapila Muni and Lord Varaha, who are the prime heroes of this canto. You will see that the first half is where Hiranyaksha is put to task. The second half, there are glorious instructions by Kapila Muni to Devahuti. I can assure you one thing that, if you start reading the teachings of Kapila Muni, आप लोग चौथा कैंटो पहुंच ही नहीं पाओगे. You will want to do it again and again, at least twice, thrice. That beautiful things are given there. So for the sake of time, we'll start now. Questions by Vedura. Shri Shuka Uvacha, Evam etat pura prashto, Maitreyo Bhagavan Khila, Shatra vanam pravishtena, Tyaktva swagraham riddhitmat. So we'll just go down. Okay. So somebody can read the translation.
Yes, Prabhu. Sukhdev Goswami said, after renouncing his prosperous home and entering the forest, King Vidur, the great devotee, asks this question to His Grace Maitri Rishi.
Prabhu, this verse does not have a purport.
Yeah. So overall, then later on, we will have a Prabhu collective reading, Prabhu. Okay? Yeah. So the next one is Yadvayam mantra kridvo Bhagavan Akhileshwaraha Paurvendra Graham Hitva Pravivesha Smatat Kritam. Translation. Yeah, someone can read this.
Yes,
Sure,
Prabhu.
Prabhuji. Go ahead, Prabhuji.
What else is there to say about the residential house of the Pandavas? Shri Krishna, the Lord of everything, acted as your minister. He used to enter that house as if it were his own, and he did not take any care of Duryodhan house. According to Gaudya Achintya Bheda Bhed Tattva philosophy, anything which satisfies the senses of the Supreme Lord, Shri Krishna, is also Shri Krishna. For example, Shri Vrindavan Dham is non-different from Shri Krishna. Tad Dham Vrindavanam. Because at Vrindavan, the Lord enjoys the transcendental bliss of his internal potency. Similarly, the house of the Pandavas was also the source of the transcendental bliss of the Lord, for the Lord. It is mentioned here that the Lord identified the house with his own self. Thus, the house of the Pandavas was as good as Vrindavan, and Vidura should not have given up that place of transcendental bliss. Therefore, the reason for his quitting the house was not exactly family misunderstanding. Rather, Vidur took the opportunity to meet Rishi Maitre and discuss transcendental knowledge. For a saintly person like Vidur, any disturbance due to worldly affairs is insignificant. Such disturbances, however, are sometimes favorable for higher realization, and therefore Vidur took advantage of a family misunderstanding in order to meet Maitri Rishi. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, no, just a minute. We'll just discuss this one. Yeah. Now, you see, what is there to say about the residential house of Pandavas? Nothing. From which perspective? Bhagwan, the Lord, is sitting over there and acting like a minister, subservient to the king. And he used to enter the house as if it was his own. Now, ये सोचने वाली बात है कि अगर भगवान स्वयं आपके घर आते हैं ये सोच करके कि ये तो मेरा घर है, और दुर्योधन के बारे में बिल्कुल नहीं सोचते हैं, तो this is a very big gift in itself. And now it says that Tadham Vrindavanam. For example, the Vrindavan Dham is non-different from Sri Krishna because Krishna, his name, his attributes, his qualities are absolute. It's ना हमारा नाम और शरीर दोनों अलग अलग है. When we die, when we leave the body, they say, oh, Mr. So-and-so passed away. In Krishna's case, it is not like that because it is all his internal potency. Now, there is a statement over here. It says that the house of Pandavas was as good as Vrindavan, and Vidur should not have given up this place of transcendental bliss. Therefore, the reason for his quitting the house was not exactly the family misunderstanding. Rather, it was Vidur took an opportunity to meet Maitreya. Many a times, we get attracted to family, wife, children, husband, in-laws, place of residence. But if it is only giving you some bliss over there, and that too if it is not transcendental, then there is no point in staying because it will only bring us Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadi again. Maybe we might be transferred to the Golokadha, to the Swargalok for our good karma. But ha Brahma Bhuvana Lokar Punaravartana Arjuna. Now, what was the misunderstanding that took place that will come to know? Vidur was the well-wisher of Pandavas. Duryodhan did not like it. दुर्योधन का ये कहना था कि आप हमारे पास रहते हो, तनख्वाह हमसे लेते हो, आपका टीए डीए अलाउंसेस हम देते हैं, everything we are doing, housing allowance and all. You are the prime minister for Hastinapur, but you are having a soft corner for Pandavas, which is not right, we feel, because we feel there is cheating. And he also makes, because कभी-कभी क्या होता है कि the people who do not know the responsibilities of authority, they misuse their tongue like anything. So he goes to the end of telling that आप तो दासी पुत्र हो, दासी पुत्र होने के बावजूद हमने आपको अपने बराबर का समझा, but you proved a point that you are not worth it. तो विदुर जो है वो महात्मा है, अगर वो चाहते तो he could have given a left, right, middle answer to Duryodhan, but he was a very self-realized soul. He could see that for the higher purpose this issue has been created. So when Duryodhan was talking like that and Vidur was looking at him, so Vidur could see that how Maya was acting on him. So this is Duryodhan and behind is Maya, and Maya is talking through Duryodhan, and Duryodhan was speaking very kataksh. वो ये भी भूल गया कि ये मेरे से बुजुर्ग है, मेरे प्राइम मिनिस्टर है, मेरे काका है. He just went left, right, middle. So quietly विदुर ने अपना धनुष उठाया, डोर पे रखा, सबको नमस्कार किया, तीर्थ यात्रा पे निकल गया. He went through all the dhams of the Lord. See, Vidur is a very, very potent person. If wanted, he could have straight away gone to Dwarka and met Krishna, but he didn't do that. पहले वो भगवान के सारे धाम में जाके अपने आप को प्यूरिफाई किया. Actually, he is a purified person, but for us to understand. और उसके बाद eventually he came to प्रभास क्षेत्र, त्रिवेणी संगम के बाजू में in सोमनाथ. सोमनाथ से 4 किलोमीटर दूर है प्रभास क्षेत्र. There he went and he met Maitreya Muni, and he took the advantage of the family misunderstanding. just to ensure that he goes and gets the instructions from Maitreya, which had come from Uddhava, and eventually we could see that Lord Krishna instructed Uddhava. So that's a big thing. Let's go to the next one. Any doubt in this for anybody before we go to the next verse?
प्रभु, इन ये जो अचिंत्य भेदा भेद है, इसको कभी किसी को कोई पूछता है ना, तो वो एक्सप्लेन करना मुश्किल हो जाता है. मतलब वी नॉर्मली गेट कंफ्यूज्ड, ऑल्दो
See,
वी नो इट. मतलब इतने साल से पढ़ रहे हैं सब, तो लेकिन आप इसको कैसे शॉर्ट में डिफाइन करेंगे?
Achintya means that which cannot be conceived by this brain. Bheda Bhed means there is a difference between the one which is very sukshma. So Achintya Bheda Bhed क्या बोलते हैं? It talks about the quality of the soul and the super soul. Super soul is Bhagwan. Soul is we. So qualitatively, the quality of the soul and the super soul is same. जैसे कि अभी मैं अरेबियन सी में जाता हूँ, I go to Dubai, I go to Jumeirah Beach, I go to the sea, I take this glass and remove some water from that. So tell me one thing, the water which is there in this glass is the same as the water in the sea? Is it same?
क्वालिटी वाइज इट इज सेम.
Yeah, so qualitative, but quantity wise, that sea can get into a tsunami and destroy the whole land. Can this water do that?
नो, दैट कैन.
So Achintya Bheda Bhed का मतलब क्या है कि qualitative lump but quantitatively different. Quantity wise, we are Anu, infinitesimal, barik, helpless. But Krishna is Vibhu, supremely powerful and supremely this. So that is the difference. So why this Achintya Bheda Bhed came? The Mayavadi say that everybody is God. You are God, I am God, he is God, left, right, middle, sub God. Why? Because Aham Brahmasmi. Yeah, Aham Brahmasmi means I am not the body, I am the soul. But are you the super soul? Are you Parabrahma? Agar Brahmasi would have been, when you say Aham Brahmasi, Krishna also comes as Brahma, I will also come as Brahma. But then there is a difference in the superiority of the two. That superiority is, he is Parabrahma, you are Brahma. अगर हम सेम होते तो परब्रह्म शब्द का कोई मतलब ही नहीं था, परमेश्वर का मतलब ही नहीं था, ईश्वर, ईश्वर, ऑल आर कंट्रोलर, बट देयर इज अ परमेश्वर. तो ये पॉइंट को समझाने के लिए चैतन्य महाप्रभु ने बोला मायावादी को, यू आर राइट अंटिल टू अ सर्टेन पॉइंट दैट वी आर ऑल स्पिरिट सोल्स, बट वी आर नॉट सुप्रीमली इंडिपेंडेंट एंड सुप्रीमली पावरफुल, सुप्रीमली सामर्थ्यवान. वो डिफरेंस रहेगा. सो दैट इज कॉल्ड अचिंत्य भेदा भेद. इस फिलॉसफी को हम कहते हैं अचिंत्य भेदा भेद, जहां पर हम क्वालिटेटिवली वन है, ममैव अंश जीवलोक जीवभूत सनातन. बट भगवान सेज, अर्जुन सेज, परम ब्रह्मा, परम धाम, पवित्रम परमम भवम. एवरीवेयर परम 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 परम. Which human being has got the title Param? Have you heard? Regardless of what today people say about the politicians, परम जो है वो सोल को नहीं लगता. सोल को लगता है अहम ब्रह्मास्मि. I am not the body, I am the soul. Got it, Prabhu?
यस सर, यस.
So when you explain them, give them this particular philosophy of the glass and the water, and they will understand. Next verse.
आपने एक बार पहले कुछ ऐसा मिट्टी और घड़े जैसा भी कुछ बताया था.
Yeah, but वो मिट्टी और घड़ा वाला जो है वो थोड़ा सा डिफिकल्ट है. ये वाटर वाला एकदम इजी है.
ठीक है.
तूफान नहीं ला सकते. Okay, my voice is clear, right, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu, it is clear.
क्लियर है प्रभु, लेकिन थोड़ा ना लो आ रहा है वॉल्यूम. नॉट श्योर इफ एनीथिंग कैन बी डन.
I'm not sure, Prabhu.
ठीक है,
Let's
कोई
sit
बात नहीं.
close to the mic. राजोवाच कुत्र क्षत्तर भगवता मैत्रेयेण संगमः कदा वा सह संवाद एतद्वरण्य न प्रभु. Yeah, somebody can read the translation.
Shall I
Hare
read?
Krishna. Yeah,
Okay.
translation. The king asked Sukadeva Goswami, where and when did the meeting and discussion take place between Saint Vadura and His Grace Maitreya Muni? Kindly oblige my lord and describe this to us. Purport. Exactly as Saunaka Rishi inquired of Suta Goswami, and Suta Goswami replied to Srila Sukadeva Goswami replied to King Parikshit's inquiries. The king was very anxious to understand the meaningful discussion that took place between the two great souls. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
So the mindset over here of the king is shown that we should be always desirous to listen to the best possible conversations that will help us to grow spiritually. Normal parlance में क्या होता है कि we get attracted to prajalpa, gossiping, क्योंकि that is natural कि कुछ तो सुनना है, बट क्या सुनना है वो बताया कि संवाद. कैसा संवाद? मैत्रेय और विदुर के बीच का संवाद. So where and where did the meeting discussion take place? And kindly oblige and describe this to me. So शुकदेव गोस्वामी का जो बोलने का तरीका है उससे परीक्षित महाराज के मन में और भी उत्सुकता आ रही है कि let me understand this in a deeper way. We'll go to the next verse now. नय अल्पार्थोदयस्तस्य विदुरस्य मालात्मनः तस्मिन् वैर्यासि प्रश्नः साधु वादोपबृमतः. Saint Vidur was a great and a pure devotee of the Lord. Therefore, his questions to His Grace Maitreya must have been very purposeful, on the highest level, and approved by learned circles. Yeah, purport can be read.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Questions and answer among different classes of men have different value. Inquiries by mercantile men in a business exchange cannot be expected to be highly purposeful in spiritual values. Questions and answers by different classes of men can be guessed by the caliber of the person concerned. In Bhagavad Gita, the discussion was between Lord Krishna and Arjuna, the Supreme Person and the Supreme Devotee, respectively. The Lord admitted Arjuna to be his devotee and friend, and therefore any sane man can guess that discussion was on the topic of the Bhakti Yoga system. Actually, the whole Bhagavad Gita is based on the principle of Bhakti Yoga. There is difference between karma and karma yoga. Karma is regulated action for the enjoyment of the fruit by the performer, but Karma Yoga is action performed by the devotee for the satisfaction of the Lord. Karma Yoga is based on bhakti or pleasing the Lord, whereas karma is based on pleasing the senses of the performer himself. According to the Srimad Bhagavatam, one is advised to approach a bona fide spiritual master when one is actually inclined to question from an elevated level of spiritual understanding. A common man who has no interest in spiritual values has no need to approach a spiritual master just as a matter of following passion. As a student, Maharaj Parikshit was serious about learning the science of God, and Shukadeva Goswami was a bona fide spiritual master in a transcendental science. Both of them knew that the topic discussed by Vidura and Rishi Maitreya were elevated, and thus Maharaja Parikshit was very interested in learning from the bona fide spiritual master. Hare Krishna.
So once again, the emphasis has been given over here that one has to approach a bona fide spiritual master who is actually in the line of parampara, so that when you ask relevant questions, you get the proper answer, which is in line with the Shastra. So questions and answers of different men. Now, if two businessmen meet each other today, या दो स्टॉक ब्रोकर एक दूसरे से मिलेंगे तो वो क्या बात करेंगे? भागवतम कैंटो 3, या करंट मार्केट एनालिसिस, या करंट हाउ डोनाल्ड ट्रंप इज रूइनिंग द होल सिस्टम? क्या एक्सपेक्टेशन हो सकता है आप लोग के हिसाब से? एनी इनपुट्स?
प्रभु वो तो बिजनेस की बात करेंगे।
They'll talk stock market and all others.
बिकॉज इट डिपेंड्स अपॉन द माइंडसेट ना। जिस मनोवृत्ति की लोग एक दूसरे से मिलते हैं, तो हम भी ऐसे लोगों से मिलते हैं जिनका हमारे जैसा मनोवृत्ति है। जैसे कि अगर मुझे शेयर मार्केट में इंटरेस्टेड है, तो आई विल फाइंड आउट अ पर्सन हु इज इंटरेस्टेड इन शेयर मार्केट with some superior knowledge, and then gain knowledge and talk about it. Same way, in the spiritual values, you will not find a mercantile person coming to a spiritual area, because उसके पल्ले नहीं पड़ेगा हम क्या बात कर रहे हैं. So question answers of different class can be guessed by the caliber of the concerned person. Same way, you see, Bhagavad Gita is also a discussion between Bhagwan Sri Krishna and Arjun. And the Lord admitted Arjun to be his devotee in the front. So Arjun का quality क्या था? He was pure. He was not having any jealousy, and he was not having any superiority complex. He was very down to earth. So that's the reason Krishna said that you are fit to be my devotee and a friend. Actually, the whole Bhagavad Gita is based on the principle of Bhakti Yoga. There is a difference between karma and karma yoga. Karma is regulated action for enjoyment. And based on that action only, we try to enjoy ourselves. Now, Maharaj Parikshit was serious about learning the science of God, and Shukdev Goswami was a bona fide spiritual master. So, this is very relevant to our group also here, who has stuck to this point, because we are all serious about learning the science of God. Of course, our elevation cannot be compared to, we are not as elevated as Shukdev Goswami, Parikshit Maharaj, Arjun, and all these personalities who are very close to the Lord. But we have a similarity. What is the similarity? We are also serious about learning the science of Godhead. And depending upon our capacity, Krishna has arranged the systems by which we can slowly and steadily understand him. So let's go to the next verse and see now. Suta uvacha sa evam ऋषिवर्यो yam पृष्ठो राजन् परीक्षितः प्रत्याहतम सुबाहुवित प्रीतात्मा श्रीयात्मा तिथि. Yeah, can read the translation.
Shri Sut Goswami said, the great sage Sukdev Goswami was highly experienced and was pleased with the king. Thus, being questioned by the king, he said to him, please hear the topics attentively.
Yeah, so Tat Shrunu. This particular word, Tat Shrunu, is very, very important, because Shrunu matlab sunna. Shrunotam swakatha Krishna punya shravana kirtanam. Yeah. तो हम लोग जब श्रृणुवता करते हैं या श्रृणु करते हैं या श्रवण करते हैं, तो वहां से हमारी भक्ति शुरू होती है. इवन इन द 7th चैप्टर, आफ्टर सो मेनी डिस्कशन इन द 6th चैप्टर ऑफ भगवद गीता, 7th चैप्टर में क्या बोलता होगा? श्री भगवान उवाचा मय्या आसक्त मना पार्थ योगम युंजन मदाश्रय असंशयम समग्रम तथा न्याससी तच्छृणु. नाउ लिसन. लेकिन बेसिकली हम लोगों से प्रॉब्लम क्या हो जाती है? हम ये नहीं बोलते कि प्लीज लिसन. वी से when we say please listen, our ego tells us that listen to what I say. No, we should listen to what has to be. So when your guru says please listen, Shurayatam, please hear, it means your bhakti starts from that point of time. Let's see what Shukamuthu Swami said. Yeah, थोड़ा सा ऊपर करना. Just scroll. Yeah. Shri Shuka Uvacha Yada tu Raja Swasutan. Yeah. Yada tu Raja Swasutan Asadhan Pushana na dharmena विनष्टदृष्टः भ्रातुर्यवैस्थस्य सुतान् विभाधुन् प्रवेशलक्ष्य भवेन ददाह. Yeah, I can read the translation.
Hare Krishna. Translation. Sri Sukadeva Goswami said, King Dhritarashtra became blind under the influence of impious desires to nourish his dishonest sons, and thus he set fire to the lacquer house to burn his fatherless nephews, the Pandavas. Purport. Dhritarashtra was blind from birth, but his blindness in committing impious activities to support his dishonest sons was a greater blindness than his physical lack of eyesight. The physical lack of sight does not bar one from spiritual progress. But when one is blind spiritually, even though physically fit, that blindness is dangerously detrimental to the progressive path of human life. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Now, if you go to see, there's a beautiful statement by Srila Prabhupada. He said, physical lack of sight does not bar from one's spiritual progress. So if you go to see in Gujarat, there used to be a saint by the name of Narsi Mehta. He himself was blind. Then we had Bilva Mangal Thakur, who deliberately destroyed his eyes. You know the story of Bilva Mangal Thakur? Anybody here? Have you heard the name?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So if you know that, the story was that Bilva Mangal Thakur was very, very desirous of sexual life.
Women. Yeah.
Right? So he got once attracted to the wife of a Brahmana. Correct me if I'm wrong, but if I'm just trying to recollect the story. And the husband of that particular lady said that you should satisfy this person's requirement. And when the lady came there, Bilva Mangal Thakur felt that he has not appropriately done in the right way. So he felt that the cause of my downfall is my eyes. Because every time I see a woman's body, I am unable to control my desire. So he took a knife and destroyed his eyesight. And after that, he went on to become a great devotee of the Lord. So if you go to see, the physical lack of the sight does not bar from spiritual progress. But when one is blind spiritually, even if he is physically fit, the blindness is dangerous, detrimental to progressive path of human life. So how many of us feel about this statement that this is the right way to understand the Shastra? What do you feel about it?
Yeah, it is right.
Because you see, those who are spiritually blind, they are more dangerous in this material world. Like, for example, somebody is very rich, he has so much of power, and if he is a spiritually blind person, he can create a havoc in the society, he can trouble common man, he can trouble auspicious people. Like Ravana was spiritually blind, Hiranyakashipu was spiritually blind. Ravana was a Trivedi for the namesake, but he never understood Vedasya Sarve Rahameva Vidyo, Vedanta Krit Veda Vidai Vachaham. And even if he understood, he was Asuram Bhavam Ashrita. So they had the spiritual knowledge, but they were spiritual blind. And I would say it was more to do with religiosity of Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, Kaitava Dharma. So they became Trivedi because the father and the grandfather was Brahmana, so they were taught. But eventually, Ravan followed his mother's trait of Rakshasi and acted on the platform of a Rakshasa. So he was completely spiritually blind. Same was the case with Kams and Hiranyakashipu. Kams himself was a devotee of Shakti. So he could never understand that who is Krishna and he would try to kill him. Same was the case with Hiranyakashipu. Knowing that Vishnu was supreme, still he thought that I can do some penance, get some benediction and kill him. But that was also a futile attempt. He was killed eventually. So these are well all physically fit people, right? Ravan, Kumbhakaran, Kams, isn't it? They were physically fit. What is your
Yes.
opinion? They were all
Yes,
physically,
they are physically fit.
but they were spiritually blind. So that is detrimental to the path of human life. Let's go to the verse 7. Yadha sabhayam kurudeva devayaha keshabhivritmashram sutakarma grahayam na varyam asanipa sunushayayaha swadrir harayataha kucha kumkumani. Yeah, can read the
I'll
translation.
read. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. The king did not forbid his son Dushyasana's abnominal actions of grabbing the hair of Draupadi, the wife of the godly king Dhritarashtra, even though her tears washed the red dust on her breast. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, we'll go to the next one and then we'll read both of this together. युते त्वव धर्मेण जितस्य साधोः सत्यावलम्बस्य वनं गतस्य न याचितो दात् समयेन दायं तमोजुषानो यद अजातशत्रुः.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Dhritarashtra, who was born without an enemy, was unfairly defeated in gambling. But because he had taken the oath of truthfulness, he went off to the forest. When he came back in due course and begged the return of his rightful share of the kingdom, he was refused by Dhritarashtra, who was overwhelmed by illusion. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Maharaja Yudhishthira was the rightful heir to his father's kingdom, but just to favor his own sons, headed by Duryodhan, Dhritarashtra, Maharaj Yudhishthira's uncle, adopted various unfair means to cheat his nephews of their rightful share of the kingdom. At last, the Pandavas demanded only 5 villages, one for each of the 5 brothers, but that was also refused by the Asuras. This incident led to the war of Kurukshetra. The battle of Kurukshetra therefore was induced by the Kurus and not the Pandavas. As Kshatriyas, the proper livelihood of the Pandavas was only to rule and not to accept any other occupation. A Brahmana, Kshatriya or Vaishya will not accept employment for their livelihood under any circumstances. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, just a minute. So now, if you see the verse before this, it says that Dhritarashtra did not stop his son Dushasan from grabbing the hair of Draupadi and bringing her to the Sabha. Now, if you go to see here, first and foremost, the gross mistake done by Yudhishthira was that he took his wife and his brothers to be his own property and he put them on the bid in the Dyut Krida, which in itself was wrong. B, because they were the living beings, human beings rather. If you put a cow or a goat, I can understand, but they are putting a human being. And that point of time, Draupadi had not done the Ritu Snan, means she was she was in her menstrual cycle. So during that point of time, they are into a separate room where they are given all kind of facilities because the body is in painful condition. The body loses heavy blood. There is a big, what do you say? The mind is unstable that time. So they are given full rest so that the body recuperates. The food is given. And once their Ritusnan is done, they come back. Now, in that condition, in traditional Indian tradition, the woman would not come out. There used to be a separate house. Like we used to stay in a big house, 4 or 5 houses, rooms will be there. In that one room is specifically for this room. I have practically seen this in Tamil Nadu when I had been to my cousin sister's in-laws place. They had around 12 rooms in the house and one room was specifically kept for this. The prasadam was served to them They would eat prasadam and just take rest. Now, and they would not come out and mingle with anybody or meet with anybody, because it is also a period of contamination. Contaminated blood is flowing. In that condition, the queen of Indraprasth, by the hair it was caught and bought, and Dhritarashtra did not even feel the pinch of it. So that goes to show that how much degraded these people were as far as their culture was concerned. They lived, if they feel that culture is the way to be lived, then it applies to everybody. Maybe they themselves must have lived in that culture, but when it came to reciprocating, this is what was happening over there. And then in the next shloka, what it is mentioned? Yeah. Yudhishthir, who was born without any enemies. So this particular title of Yudhishthir is great, huh? Ajata Shatru. Ajata Shatru means one who had no enemies, no matter whatsoever it was. So he was defeated fair and square, or it was fair, cheated by unfair means. It was cheating. But he was truthful. So he took the vow, I'll go for 13 years. Now, in the Kshatriya Dharma, there are many rules, like one rule which is mentioned that Kshatriya's proper livelihood was only to rule. They could not go and work as a Brahmana or Vaishya or a Shudra. They have to rule. अगर कंट्री का राजा नहीं है तो एक विलेज का पंचायत, पंच परमेश्वर. But they have to rule. So same way in the Kshatriya Dharma, if you are invited for a Dyut Krida or a war, you cannot say no. So he knew that he would be cheated, because Shakuni is very cunning. But still he accepted, because that is Kshatriya Dharma. But who told him to put his wife and brother as the bait? So what is the moral of the story over here? The moral of the story is that we are having 4 pillars, right? What are the 4 pillars? No meat eating. Can anyone help me? No.
Gambling, no meat eating, illicit relations, and one more, Prabhu.
No intoxication.
No intoxication. Yeah. So when you do gambling, it means your character is questionable. Only questionable character people will do gambling. It means honesty is at stake. And your mind gets corrupted. That feeling comes in your mind. Oh, let me play one more round. Maybe the next one I will win. So that corrupts your mind and your honesty levels are डामाडोल. आप हिल जाते हो. So Yudhishthir lost. Then he decided that I will go for the 13 years vanvas and do the prashchitta. So he went. But there is one more provision for the Kshatriya. If the king is good, he is very capable. So 13 years of vanvas can be equal to 13 days of Shraddha. So that point of time, Bhishma Pitama on the 13th day, goes to the Dhritarashtra and says, listen, we already made a mess out of what could have been controlled. Draupadi हमको शाप दे सकती थी, but because of Mandodari, she kept silent. Then you people again played one game and you trapped them again and they said to go away. Now they went also. In a special condition, 13 years is equal to 13 days. They can relinquish their Agyatwas, they can release their Vanvas, and you can call them back. Do that. And that side, Bhim and Arjun also got ready. So Yudhishthir said, with whose permission you did this? He said, Maharaj, Shastra says that. हमारा शास्त्र कहता है कि 13 वर्ष जो है 13 दिन के बराबर है. तो युधिष्ठिर से तुम लोग ने मजाक बना रखा है, बच्चों का खेल है ये, कि first we go and do a blunder over there, and because of which our wife has to suffer, and she almost got nakedly stripped. हमारे से गलती हुआ है, मेरे से गलती हुआ, मैं प्रायश्चित करूंगा 13 साल और वापस आऊं, तुम लोग को जाना है जाओ. So then Yudhishthir convinces them. So what are the dharmas that we listen? A king cannot say no to anybody. The king cannot say no to gambling and war.
Wow.
If they are, then a truthful king will not use the provisions of Kshatriya dharma for his benefit. So he says, मैं तो पूरा करके आऊंगा. Third thing is, what else have we learned from this? They cannot beg, they have to rule.
They need to rule. Yeah.
They need to rule. Same way, I'll give you two more scenarios of the Kshatriya dharma from Mahabharata. Can anyone tell me what happened in Lakshagraha? Brief दे सकते हैं. लाक्षागृह में क्या हुआ था?
Prabhu,
Lakshagruha.
Vidur,
बोलिए.
yes, Rao, please carry on.
Basically, Lakshagruha is the house where Pandavas are staying.
Yeah.
So the Kauravas set fire to that particular
Yeah.
house so that they
House.
can kill Pandavas.
Yeah, that's right. So they thought that they can kill Pandavas. But then what happened over there?
Yeah.
How they got protected?
The Supreme Personality God, Krishna knows this one. So Krishna comes and awakens them and make the safe passage of Pandavas.
No, it was Vidur.
It was Vidur,
Vidur,
Prabhu,
okay.
who
Vidur
came.
realized that there is something wrong. Yeah, please tell.
It was Vidur who came and had told them to go out of it because it is being planned like that by the Rashtra and all.
Actually, there is a parallel stuff also to this one. So there were five people, five men, and their meaning five brothers and
Yeah.
their mother, who was involved in creating this Lakshagraha. And these people did not know what exactly is supposed to happen, why they are creating it. But somehow the people, meaning the Shakuni and Duryodhan, these people give this information to them. And one day when all of these around 13th day or 14th day ऐसा कुछ होता है, or one day prior to the Amavasya, something like that, these 6 people are drinking lot of liquor, and out of that the lack of sense, that they speak out कि what is going to happen करके. So they tell them कि बाबा, मैं एक दूसरे में बात करते हैं कि we are going to burn this one and ये 6 लोग यहाँ पे मर जाएंगे करके. एंड फिर बाद में जब ये विदुर ने एक विदुर सेंड्स वन पर्सन टू कंस्ट्रक्ट अ टनल out of that Lakshagruha, and a long tunnel which goes and comes out at in a different village. When they exit, all the 6 exit, and then they burn the Lakshagruha by themselves, and within that these 6 people die. So जब ये लोग देखने आते हैं दुर्योधन and Shakuni and their people, they realize that there are 6 skeletons over there, and then they realize कि all 6 have died करके. And that is how that wrong story gets passed on to the villagers that Pandavas and Kunti Mata has died.
Yeah.
Krishna.
There is just one point of difference that I heard about, was that these 6 people, they are the Banjaras, they are vagabonds. And निम्न जाति के लोग हैं, मतलब they do not have the spiritual realization that what is the goal of life. So what I have understood from one of the Acharya's Tipni, he says that one lady who was almost of the age of Kunti, and other 5 of them who looked almost like Pandavas physically, Dildal, were chosen by Vidur and implanted in the Lakshagra area with lot of liquor to drink. So the question arises that what kind of people you are that you have burnt 6 people for protecting your own kul, तुम्हारे कुल के लोगों को बचाने के लिए. The answer given by Vidur over that point of time is that for the superior cause of saving Pandavas, who are godly people, लोअर लेवल के लोगों की आहुति दी जा सकती है. क्षत्रिय धर्म का ये एक नियम है. Now this if you tell today, they will put you in contempt of rights and will be behind the bars for even talking like this thing. Especially the, what is that? The communist. But those point of time, Vidur chose these people, put them over there. So the question was asked, then Vidur said that since their lives have been given up for the righteous king, their next Janma will be in a superior family where they will get spiritual delight. Now, these things, if you see, the Kshatriya Dharma has got some very weird and very different kind of scenarios. This was one scenario, which to the date, many of the so-called communists and leftists, they don't agree to this point. They say that the Pandavas made a mess out of it. This is truly going to be like, testing you. Now, King Pandu, he was cursed that the day he will consummate his wife, he will die. Because उसके हाथ से एक ऋषि मुनि की हत्या हो गई उस परिस्थिति में when they were planning a child. So Pandu gave up his kingdom, Dhritarashtra, and he took vanvas, self vanvas. दो वाइफ को लेकर के निकल गए. So they came to Badrinath, and from there they wanted to go to स्वर्गारोहण. तो स्वर्ग के गेट के ऊपर उन्होंने कहा कि आपने सब कुछ किया लेकिन धरोहर नहीं दिया. Where is your next clan who will run the show and who will do the Pitra Tarpan? Without that, स्वर्ग में entry नहीं है. So he cannot consummate his wife to impregnate her. At that point of time, Kunti says, मेरे को दुर्वासा मुनि ने एक वशीकरण मंत्र दिया. So the clause says in Kshatriya Dharma that if a king is unable to bear a child, then the king can arrange for a superior being like a devata or a rishi muni, and through them they can have a child. So if you see, which rishi muni gave you 3 children in Mahabharata?
Vyasdev.
Yes, Vyasdev gave 3 children as Dhritarashtra, Pandu and Vidur.
Vidur.
Now, in the next case, it so happened that Pandu was the deciding authority that from whom we can have child. So first he called Dharmaraj, Yamraj. Second he called Vayu. Third he called Indra. And they had 3 beautiful children. So then Pandu told his wife, I would like to have 2 more. Give me 2 more names. And then she said, I beg pardon, I will not be able to deliver any more child because the Kshatrani Dharma says that she can have maximum 3 children. Now, yes, there is Karna is there, but that is a closed area which she could not reveal that point of time. Because that would question her credibility. So she said that a Kshatrani can maximum avail 3 Purushas in the life under the guidance of the husband to give a child. Now, if you want 2 more, please go to your second wife Madhuri and get it done. So that is where the Ashwin Kumar came and did it. So, you see, so many provisions are there in the Kshatriya Dharma for them to beget the child and rule the place and compromise or get a lower person killed for the higher perspective. Cannot say no to Dvit Krida. Cannot say no to challenge on the battlefield. So like that, there are a few things that we learned today. So I keep the session open for question answers now. Any doubts, any questions? related to this or anything else, we can discuss it out.
प्रभु इस लास्ट वाले इसमें चौथी लाइन में एक वर्ड आया, अस, USURPERS, अस्पर्स।
असर मतलब चीटिंग करके
और
छीन ले।
हाँ, और हिंदी में इसका लिखा हुआ है अनाधिकृत वंचकों।
या मतलब हम लोग बोलते हैं ना गटक जाना, निगल जाना, बोला निगल गया, डकार भी नहीं लिया। दैट इज द कॉमन मीनिंग।
ओके प्रभु।
दैट इज द कॉमन मीनिंग कि यू आर सो प्रूडेंट इन लोगों का पैसा खाने में या लोगों को क्षति पहुंचाकर उनसे चीजें लेने में। उसर्प मीन्स टू फिनिश, अनलॉफुली ले लेना एंड देन से डू व्हाट यू हैव टू डू, दिस इज माइन। और वो लेकर वो भोगने भी लग जाते हैं। इंद्रप्रस्थ को भोगना शुरू कर दिया उन्होंने। What more can you understand? Ajata Shatru. This is a beautiful title that his Yudhishthir has it. So इसके ऊपर एक बार द्रोणाचार्य ने एक टेस्ट लिया. How this Ajata Shatru came to him. He called Duryodhan, he called Yudhishthir, and he told Duryodhan, go and find out who's better than you. जाओ, शाम तक आओ, तुमसे जो बेहतर है उसको लेकर आओ. और युधिष्ठिर को बोला, go and find out who's worse than you. तो दोनों गए भाई. शाम हो गई, शाम वापस आए. शाम को आए तो युधिष्ठिर said, I was the worst of all. I didn't have anyone better than someone who was worse than me. सब में मैंने कुछ अच्छे गुण देखे, मेरे में कोई गुण नहीं था. तो प्रभु मुझे माफ कीजिए और मैं ये एक्सेप्ट कर लीजिए कि आई एम द वर्स्ट पर्सन इन दिस वर्ल्ड. दुर्योधन आया, बोला, माय डियर गुरु महाराज, आई वांटेड टू टेल यू वन थिंग. आई वाज द बेस्ट. मेरे से अच्छा मुझे कोई दिखा ही नहीं. सब में कुछ ना कुछ अवगुण दिखे, मेरे में सारे गुण थे. So I did not find anyone better than me. So please accept me the best. And that's how it should be. तो ये मनोवृत्ति क्या बताती है हमको? How would you define this statement? अजात शत्रु मतलब one who has no enemy, because enmity तब होती है जब आप देखते हो कि somebody has a better good and I'm envious. But when you know that you are useless, hopeless and good for nothing, enmity का सवाल ही नहीं उठता है. आपसे दुश्मनी करेगा कौन? He is a truthful person. He is a humble person. He is a laid back person. And कर्तव्य पालन है. तो ऐसे मनुष्य का शत्रु कोई नहीं हो सकता. फिर भी ऐसे मनुष्य से शत्रुता किसने ली? दुर्योधन एंड कंपनी ने. So we have to understand that, ब्रह्म भूत प्रसन्नात्मा न शोचति न कांक्षति. सम सर्वेषु भूतेषु मद भक्ति लभते परा. सम सर्वेषु भूतेषु. One has to be equal to everybody. And Yudhishthir was. इतना बड़ा कांड हुआ, उनके ऊपर कितने दफे लाइफ में हमले हुए, लेकिन फिर भी कुरुक्षेत्र की युद्ध भूमि खत्म होने के बाद में धृतराष्ट्र कहां पर रहे? पांडु के घर में रहे. हालांकि भीम एंड अर्जुन वर नॉट हैप्पी विद दिस, बट युधिष्ठिर सेड दैट इज धर्म, कि तुम्हारे बुजुर्ग अगर अकेले रह गए तो उसको देखना तुम्हारा काम है. उन्होंने क्या किया वो भूल जाओ, तुम क्या कर सकते हो वो देखो. वो बड़े हैं, तुम छोटे हैं. So the people who took away their everything were still pardoned and given the appropriate respect. इसके लिए बोलते हैं कि न क्षोचति न कांक्षति सम सर्वेषु भूतेषु. 3 things. ब्रह्म भूत प्रसन्नात्मा. ब्रह्म में आप जाके प्रसन्न आत्मा कैसे बनोगे? आपके मन में कोई इच्छा नहीं है, आपके मन में कोई आकांक्षा नहीं है, आपके मन में कोई शोक नहीं है. न क्षोचति न कांक्षति. लास्ट बट नॉट द लीस्ट इज सम सर्वेषु भूतेषु. हम में से कितने लोगों ने ऐसा बोला है, मैं इन सबको माफ कर सकता हूं लेकिन इसको छोड़ूंगा नहीं मैं? हुआ है कभी ऐसा? या मन में सोचा है किसी के प्रति? यू कैन जस्ट स्टॉप शेयरिंग दिस प्रभु एंड यू कैन स्विच ऑन योर कैमरास.
Yes,
Yeah.
Prabhuji. It
तो
happened with
ऐसा
me.
कभी हुआ है कि मैं इसको देख लूंगा, मैं भूल जाऊंगा इसने क्या किया, लेकिन मैं माफ नहीं कर पाऊंगा, या मैं माफ कर दूंगा लेकिन भूल नहीं पाऊंगा। ऐसे कुछ कॉम्बिनेशंस होते हैं लाइफ में।
होता है प्रभु जी मतलब मैं सोचता हूँ कि एक पर्टिकुलर पर्सन है, वो उसको छोड़ के मैं सभी को माफ कर सकता हूँ, पर इसको शायद मैं नहीं कर पाऊँ। ऐसा मैं बहुत बार
हाँ,
सोचता हूँ, होता है मेरे साथ।
तो सुशील जी, ऐसा कभी मन में आया सोच?
प्रभु चाहे बोला ना हो, लेकिन मन में रहते हैं एक दो आदमी जो कि मतलब हमको लगता है कि इनको कभी ना कभी सबक सिखाएंगे।
बात सही है। राव साहब, कभी ऐसा फील होता है?
Definitely.
स्वाभाविक है, स्वाभाविक
Very
है।
Swabhavik, very common.
क्योंकि कले दोष निधे राजन अस्ति एक महान गुण। उदय जी, आपका क्या थिंकिंग है इसमें? व्हाट इज योर थॉट अबाउट दिस पर्टिकुलर केस ऑफ फॉरगिविंग समवन बट नॉट फॉरगेटिंग, या फॉरगेटिंग बट नॉट फॉरगिविंग? तो
Sir,
सब कुछ रहेगा, लेकिन ये रहेगा।
no, I think, that's what every time I keep telling, right? We keep doing the same thing again and again. We are not able to restrain ourselves from certain things. So my wife keeps telling me one thing: you listen to Bhagavatam, you listen to Gita, but where is the behavioral change?
हम्म। हम्म। तो
Okay,
भगत
that somehow, that's why I tell, like the moment you go to, let's say, office, you're you don't try and apply whatever you're studying or learning. Somehow it doesn't happen.
it
The
doesn't
moment you
happen.
go there, you are then in a race or in some other place. Every time I don't know, we have to be at a very, very high level to give up all these kind of.
But I will just ask one question. Just try to explain me about your experience. Say, for example, now I decide to take a call that Sushil and Rao साहब जो है, they are impossible. अगर मौका मिलेगा तो I'll do something in such a way that I get some satisfaction. Now राव साहब को भी पता नहीं है, सुशील साहब को भी पता नहीं है ये बात। उनको नहीं पता है कि मेरे मन में क्या चल रहा है। तो ये बैगेज मेरा हुआ, उनका हुआ।
हमारा
Right. Now, suppose if I am carrying these two baggages, then third comes Amit, fourth comes Uday, fifth comes Smita, sixth comes Rakesh, seventh comes Amit Madhavdar, Amrit Madhavdar. तो मेरा बैगेज तो दिन ब दिन बढ़ता जा रहा है।
yes.
क्या? लेकिन इन सब में से ये आते बोलते हरे कृष्णा प्रभु, कैसा है, केम छो, कैसा चल रहा है तुमसे, इपड़ी इरका है, डिपेंडिंग अपॉन दिस, एंड यू से फाइन, थैंक यू, एंड दे गो अवे। एंड देन मैं बैठे बैठे सोचता हूँ, फेस पर आके कैसा है बोलते हैं और अंदर से ऐसा है। सो व्हाट हैपेंस वंस दिस बैगेज स्टार्ट्स टू डेवलप, एंड सर्टन केसेस में भी जेन्युइन ना प्रभु, ये तो मैंने फॉर द सेक ऑफ बात करते हैं, some guy will come and really poke you with an intention of making you in distress. But there are times when you could do something, there are times when you are totally helpless. स्पेशली वर्क कल्चर में, आजकल के प्रोफेशनलिज्म में तो बोलने की जरूरत नहीं है। एक अगर मैं
That's exactly what I was trying to say. Behind the back, there are a lot of things which will happen for anybody. But
now
I think
what application begins with what, stop taking the things that comes to you and start becoming neutral to it. I don't say उसको देखा अनदेखा मत करो, बिकॉज उसके पीछे कुछ डेंजरस भी हो सकता है, बट कीप इट न्यूट्रल, डोंट गेट इनटू इट टू मच, बिकॉज इट ऑलवेज, बिकॉज व्हाट हैपेंस, एंड स्पेशली अगर आपको पता है कि वो प्रोवोकेटिव है, तो because as the time goes by and as you get matured, you will also see that it has got no much relevance unless you give it an importance. तो आदमी एक दफा आके बोलेगा, दो दफा आके बोलेगा, he sees that you are not interested. After some time it will stop. This we have done it in our professional life. But the moment they see that you reciprocate or you react, you can choose to react, you can choose to act. knowledge is something what you speak, and intelligence is something when you speak. And we are all intelligent people. So sometimes they provoke you to a situation where they will, आपके मुंह से क्या निकलता है, आप हड़बड़ाते हो कि नहीं. Certain time के बाद में you just chant your rounds, read your Bhagavatam. And if people are playing politics, let them play. You tell, because maybe जैसा कि अभी दुर्योधन का केस हुआ, दुर्योधन ने इतना कठोर शब्द बोला, तो विदुर ने देखा, बोला you should be pretty strong that you are not going to lose yourself for the sake of something that is not worthy. अगर कोई बड़ा प्रॉब्लम है, कुछ सीरियस प्रॉब्लम है, तो I can understand. I don't mean to say that I am so great, but I will tell you one thing, that when you remain calm and when you remain focused, how it helps you. If you have 10 minutes time, I'll tell you. Subal, can I?
Yes, Prabhu, please.
See, just before my retirement, I retired in April 2024. We had a departmental head change, and there was something which was going fishy, and a fraud department opened a fraud case against me, that I have been passing a tender to some persons whom I know. And the last thing I thought was, wow, April I am retiring, and October this fraud came. And the way they dealt with me was, he was a Moroccan guy. He came, he sat in front of me, and he just blasted me. He said, you did this, you did this, you did this. Now, out of the blue, I'm wondering, what should I do? And he said, see, these are the documents which are against you. And he produced everything. He produced everything. And he said that Monday we are going to close this case, and you better be prepared for your answers. Now, your credibility of 35 years in a company like DP World is at stake. The bosses are not allowed in the room. And on Thursday, he tells me, Monday 2 o'clock, the case will be finished. अभी आप ऐसे में क्या कर सकते हैं? Who pinned it, you don't know. But definitely we had some idea about who these people are. But they are well beyond your control. And this is authorized by the HOD who came newly in the department. He wanted to show something that he is doing something. That night I came home, I sat in front of the Lord and I said, from here, where do I go? Friday was a half day. Went to the office, spoke to my boss, started working on certain aspects. We did everything very calm and focused. So my boss told me, Rohit, today you're looking like a lawyer. I said, why? He said, you are segregating things in a very sequence. You're not disturbed. I said, if being disturbed helps me, I'll be disturbed. But I don't have time to be disturbed. I need to act. So the calm I am, the better I am. And guess what that gentleman did, Prabhu? He told me Monday 2 o'clock. He came at 11:30 to the office. He said, let's start the proceedings. He caught me off guard again. But I was well prepared on Friday itself. We sat down. He was about to give the verdict. I said, I need to speak. He said, there is nothing to speak. I said, even the court allows you to speak. And we started to talk. And when we started to talk, very calm, very quiet, one documents, I started to present them. And he was rattled. He said, where did you get this piece of information? I said, you were jumping to conclusion. He said, that's my job. I said, but my job is to protect myself. And eventually, by the end of the day, the entire case was turned. They had got nothing against me. He felt very bad that he misbehaved with me. I told him one thing. I said, you're a young person, I'm an old person. At least have some respect. The way you spoke to me as if was, but I was very calm, very much focused, and I was thanking Srila Prabhupada. You will say, why Prabhupada? This is professional. Professional or personal? The language, the write-ups, everything came from Prabhupada books. And being focused. Eventually, the case was dismissed and I walked out scot-free. And the person who was interviewing me, he lost his cool and he was rattled up. So, if the spirituality is there, then as Uday Prabhu's wife was telling that, why not implement? Implementation takes time because you have to be convinced that this principle has to be implemented. And my boss came and congratulated me in front of that person. He said, Rohit, what you did, if others would have been there, they would have already gone on their knees and surrendered to them that, yes, I did this. I said, the point is not whether I did it or not. The point was the way they misbehaved with me, Prabhu. The language, what they spoke, the way they rattled me. Suppose if I decided to give it back, I would have fallen in their trap or in Maya's trap. So situations will come. People will trouble you because Adi Bhautik. Even one ant can bite you and trouble you. I don't say that I'll win every situation. It was my fate, Krishna's mercy, Guru's mercy, Vaishnava's blessings that I came out. But at least I implemented that plan. So I request you all that, certain aspects of your Krishna consciousness, if you start implementing in your life, I'm telling you, it will help you a world of good, Prabhu. Because this Bhagavad Gita is the SOP of life. Unfortunately, Gita आप कम पढ़ते हैं. जनरल पब्लिक का पूछ रहा हूँ, आपका नहीं पूछ रहा हूँ. I know we all read Gita on a regular basis, try and understand it. Dead body के पास मरने के बाद में दूसरा अध्याय निकाल के पढ़ते हैं उधर. So one Sarvabhauma Prabhu was telling us, he said, you buy a TV, you use the TV, and when the TV gets spoiled, you remove the manual and read. Whereas that manual should have been read on the first day. So same is with Bhagavad Gita. The principles of Bhagavad Gita about na kshachati na kankshati. The situation given by Vidur over here. And as you proceed in this chapter, you will see that how badly Vidur was treated by Duryodhana and company. You will feel the pinch of it. So in perspective, we are all liable to be tested like that, Prabhu. Because there are certain times, certain people will come in your life who were your past janma karma fal data. तो आपको वो तकलीफ होगा. और वो तकलीफ कैसे होगा? आप जाओगे और पूछोगे किसी एस्ट्रोलॉजर के पास क्या चल रहा है, तो बोला शनि की महादशा चल रही है, शनि की 7.5 चल रही है. तो शनि इज द कर्म फल दाता. शनि, if you see, it rules house number 10 and 11. 10 is कर्मस्थान, 11 is benefit. तो दोनों का चीज जो है उसके हाथ में, बाकी उधर कोई प्लैनेट कुछ नहीं कर सकता. So if our behavior has been good, your placement of Saturn will be super. If your behavior has been bad, Saturn will take a position which will make you pay for it. Many things like that. So as the time goes, we are all matured. Let's not get too much into teaching people about they are right or wrong. Let us look into ourselves and correct ourselves. So then people will say you are very soft. Yeah, but I am very soft, but I am very stamina भी है long term खड़ा रहने का. What is your take on these things? Tell me. Sometimes
Very good,
people
Prabhu.
say you are very soft.
Yeah, exactly. And many a times, being human, to be that soft, many people kindle you, right? When you are not able to, like a very, very simple example. On a road, when you're traveling, you know the road rage. When a
True.
person overtakes you, I don't know if very hardly will you find people not shouting or not abusing. Okay, like it
That is the
happens.
best example you have chosen. That is the best example.
So So being very calm and thinking that, yeah, this is nothing, is sometimes like I'll do it many times that I feel like not telling anything. But there are at that some time it will come out. Maybe out of 10 times, if 9 times you do practically think of not
That
doing
once is
anything or
okay
not
because you
listening,
also need to remove it. That is perfectly okay. But what happens over a period of time is that because actually even when you remove it once also,
it will be
अगले
too
बार
much.
उसका कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. So next time you make it once in 20 times and 30 times and you are through with that. That's how it goes. You have already chosen the right path. Maybe from your perspective, you are feeling that implementation could be more better, but it will take its time. It will take its time. But the more calm you are, the better understanding you have of the situation. You will be able to judge and read between the lines. And that is what you should not miss. Rao Sahab?
Yes, Prabhuji, that's good. So actually, means we need to try to practice that, and that actually Uday Prabhu said rightly said that the right question, because after reading, participating, and all those things, if there's no behavioral change, then we are not making use of that thing, and at least this the way you handle it gives a lot of
If you
guidance
could
for
take that
us.
one point,
So
Prabhu.
being cool.
Yeah. See, one thing, Prabhu, cool does not mean that they can destroy you. That,
Exactly.
see, I will put a nice gloves of velvet in my hand. And when you do shake hand, you will feel that softness, right? But if you try to press it, there is a hand of steel inside it. Principally, सिद्धांत वाइज आप नहीं कर सकते कुछ. So it's a gloves which is made out of very soft material, which will give you, oh, this person's hand is so soft. So let me make the best out of it. And I start pressing it. Oh, this is steel. ये compress नहीं हो रहा है. Yes, sir. Mind your steps. I can smile, but I can still be an assassin. It helps a lot because then अगला आपको respect करना चालू करता है for what you stand for. But suppose if I gave 2-3 this upfront, clang or salvos, because the tongue can hit you the worst, Prabhu. It can be more piercing than Bhishma Pitama's pain.
And most of the times, luckily by the God's grace, actually we do not come across so much of bad people. But only thing is because we lose anger, we do mistakes. So if we can control anger at that time, stay cool, but inside be strong. I think, yeah, that's real.
Recently, Prabhu, I was traveling from Shimla to Manali a month back. So the driver was whimsical. You know how the drivers are. And my brother-in-law, he became very angry with him. He said, "Yaar, ye aisa hai, waisa hai." I said, Siddharth, he's been driving for 350 kilometers. Yeah, we people are sleeping over here. And it's a topsy-turvy area. And it's not necessary that if you say something, he has to respond as. He's not your slave. You're not bought him. बोला नहीं जीजा जी आप हमेशा ऐसा बोलते हो. Then we took a call. Then I just went outside. I said, भूपेंद्र कुछ खाना खाया आपने? नहीं साहब जी. मैं बोला गाड़ी रुकाओ खाना खाओ. चलो एक कप चाय पियो. बोला नहीं. उतना बात करने से उसके मुंह पे चेहरे पे आ गया. बोला सर जी 1 घंटे के रास्ते पर एक अच्छा रेस्टोरेंट है मैं रुकता हूँ उधर. And then he started to talk to everybody. Then I looked at my brother-in-law. I said, see, you and I both, we don't know this person. But the way how you took him and the way how I took him. He said, how do you do that? I said, the question is, why don't you do that? Don't ask me how. You also know how to do it. But you don't want to do it because your ego comes in between. उनको ऐसा
Exactly.
लगता है कि मैंने वो लोअर तबके का आदमी हूँ.
Very
मैंने
right.
ऐसे नहीं चलता. If you deal with your people in the right way, if not today, tomorrow they will reciprocate. And if still they don't, then their karmas are there to be faced from. And this is what Vidur exactly did. वो चाहता, उसको पता था कि दुर्योधन को कितना भी बोल लो वो उल्टा खड़ा है, इसमें पानी नहीं टिकेगा. और विदुर का जाने के बाद उनके जीवन का जो बचा कुचा प्रोटेक्शन था वो भी खत्म हो गया. Because Vidur was there, Krishna could not attack. Now, once Vidur left, everything became opened up. नहीं तो कौन्तेय प्रतिजानी न मे भक्ता प्रणश्यते. So that last kavach of Vidur, which was protecting them, they already got the curse from Draupadi by touching that sati. वो उसने मुंह से कुछ नहीं बोला रहेगा, उसको टच करने से उनको पाप लग गया. जो बचा कुचा जो था विदुर के वजह से जो बच सकते थे इन लोग, उसको भी निकाल दिया इंसल्ट करके. तो नाउ वेयर इज द सुरक्षा कवच? So same way, sometimes we oppose a person and strike against him, not knowing that actually we are exposing ourselves to those areas which were protected by them. So you will see that, Prabhu. So I conclude the class. It's almost 12:53. Yeah. Subal Prabhu, anything from
Thank
your
you so
side?
much, Prabhu. Thank you. I think it is very much important to have a kind of instruction given for the practical implementation of the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. So many a times we understand the principles, but it's very difficult to apply. I just thought I'll share one lesson I learned from Mohan Prabhu.
Please.
So when we were doing Bhakti Vriksha at Mohan Prabhu's house, one information that he shared with us is knowledge comes in three different phases.
Hmm.
So first is the phase of discovery, wherein prior to that we do not know something, and we come to
Hmm.
know, oh, something like this exists. So we discover that. But that doesn't necessarily mean that we have understood the concept properly.
Yes.
When we go into details of Bhagavad Gita, we understand the concept. So prior to that, we just have discovered, oh, there is something called as Bhagavad Gita, which teaches about Lord Krishna and the soul and the behavioral aspect. Then we go details into it and we understand that concept very well. But it is still far from the ideal stage because we have not applied those teachings in our life. And that application of those teachings can take, in some people can take weeks or months, so in some people can take years and years.
Yes.
So I know quite a few people, meaning we have been discussing about Bhagavad Gita for quite some time. Uday Prabhu also would know. So these people have taken years and years to apply them. And the primary reason for the delay in the application is two reasons. One is lack of faith in the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. And the second is lack of association with devotees. If this happens, then things automatically start moving ahead in the right direction.
True, Prabhu. Very true. Thank you for bringing it up.
I hope we will become better devotees by Krishna's mercy and by your blessings, Prabhu. Keep coming regularly. Thank you for guiding all of us. It's very much important. At some point of time, not just theory, but a practical slap on the face is also required to be able to understand our mistakes and stop doing it.
Because see, what happens is, Prabhu, that when you get into a tiff with somebody, one has to take a call and stop it, but it doesn't stop them. I know about a situation now where I'm here in Baruch, where two good devotees, very nice, but somehow they are at loggerheads. And now that has come to a level where it's become like cats and dogs. Both have decided to give up their positions of devotee and then as karmis. So yesterday, the head came and spoke to me. He said, Prabhu, how are we going to manage this? Why don't you look into this? Because it's become a headache for the trustee member now. The trust member has to approve something, but things are not going well. और उससे क्या होता है, हमारा spirituality खत्म हो जाता है. Our primary goal of life is to achieve Krishna Prema and be associated with others. If I have to ask one question today to everybody, what is easy to do? To walk on your own or to take people and walk with? What's
To
easier?
work on our own.
सबको लेके
Walk
चल
alone through is easier. Taking the people along and walking is a bit difficult. But walking alone, sometimes, we can cross the distance along uh, easily.
So why Prabhupada chose the other one? He could have gone back to Godhead from Radha Damodar temple straight away. उनका तो वीजा लग गया था.
That was his mercy, Prabhu, on the fallen souls.
That was the instruction of his guru also.
Instruction of Gurus here.
See, Prabhu, it is very easy to walk alone because you are not answerable to anybody. There is no burden, there is no responsibility. But now when you're married, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So you're walking alone or with your wife and children?
Yeah, along with the family. Yeah.
So along with family means then there are some problems because a tug of war will be there. The wife will say no, you will say yes. The kids will say no, you will say no, they will say yes. So what do you do? मध्यस्थ निकालते हैं ना?
Yes, Prabhuji.
You all come out. Same way, the devotees are extended from Sudeva Kutumba Prabhu. We have to take them and walk because if you don't take them walk, you are leaving them for Maya to be pounced. So when we say that there is we learn that hinsa, right? So we talk about hinsa and ahimsa. So what is the greatest himsa that we can do to the person? Hit him, cut him, hurt him, or what else?
प्रभु उसको आध्यात्मिक ज्ञान से दूर.
लेकिन अगर उसको आध्यात्मिक ज्ञान देंगे तो उसको लेके चलना पड़ेगा हमको.
That is true.
Prabhupada mentioned that he said, alone everybody can walk, but to walk together is the challenge. And Vasudev Kutumba is all about taking people walking together. So usme so many compromises you have to do, so many things you have to overlook. I normally conduct tours with people. They're all devotees, they're all chanting 16 rounds, they're all initiated. But when it comes to moving, Prabhu, moving from one place to another place, Subal,
Yeah, Prabhu.
remember one case, a funny case, allocation of the room that was done just ambiguously by us, and
Nepal
बराबर
trip.
bamboo मिला दोनों को. And I had to fall at the feet of that person. बाबा जाने दो ये we change. No, हमारे साथ हमेशा ऐसे ही होता है. With no intent at all, प्रभु in our mind. हम तो क्या के लिए करेंगे ऐसा? क्या करना है? फटाफट हम लोग रूम एलोकेट कर रहे थे. And he came बरस पड़े हम दोनों के ऊपर. So this is just one odd case I'm telling. But you should not leave, Prabhu. They're like, I'm not going to leave you all. I'm going to keep eating your brains again and again. Chalo
Thank
saath
you.
mein.
Thank you, Prabhu.
No,
Thank
it is
you
the
so
painful
much.
thing. See, I will conclude with one small story. You know the porcupines, जिसके बॉडी में कांटा होता है, long long कांटे होते हैं जिसका. It's a
Yeah.
kind of an animal. Yeah, somebody can just share it on a Google to know if they do not know. तो ये porcupine जो है, ये लोग साथ में रहते थे. When they used to walk around, एक दूसरे का कांटा लगता था. So they decided to stay away from each other. And the winter came. Many porcupines died. Because when they used to stay together, there used to be the warmness of the body, which used to keep them alive. So जो बचे कुचे जो थे, उन्होंने क्या सोचा, मर जाने से साथ में रहना अच्छा है. मर जाने से हम लोग साथ में रहना अच्छा है कि भले एक दूसरे का कांटा लगता है, लेकिन हम जिंदा तो है. तो वैसे ही in a devotee community also, somebody will be like a porcupine, they will poke you. But rather than having a spiritual death, because they are spiritually blind, it is better to take that kata and stay together because at least you are spiritually progressing. I'll conclude this, Prabhu.
Nice, Prabhuji.
Wonderful story.
थैंक यू प्रभु, आपकी क्लास बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग होती है, बिल्कुल. We keep on waiting when you will come.
No, I told Subal Prabhu that once a month I'm 100% on, Prabhu. Anything more than that is depending upon how the other speakers are available.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Many thanks for a wonderful lecture. And I encourage all of the participants to ask more and more questions so that
Yeah,
प्रभु
questions
को
can be
लगना चाहिए
anything.
कि 1.5 घंटा is not enough करके.
Questions may be relevant to the subject that we read or it can be relevant to the spirituality. नहीं है तो आंसर ढूंढ के लाएंगे प्रभु. हमारे आचार्यों ने कितने किताबें लिखी है, तो किसके लिए लिखी है? हमारे लिए लिखी है ना. Why should we give up? Keep elevating, keep asking, keep growing. And I'm sure that each one of you will be a fantastic devotee at some point of time.
जय.
प्रभु कल शाम को यहाँ पर किसी एक मैन कोई फंक्शन था, नौका विहार था.
हाँ,
ब्यूटीफुल फंक्शन. एंड मतलब उन्होंने अपने स्विमिंग पूल में ही इतना सुंदर बनाया हुआ था. ब्यूटीफुल.
कहाँ? दुबई में?
हाँ जी, हाँ जी.
Where was this? In Jebel Ali area?
Yesterday it was there. I think सुबल प्रभु को ज्यादा पता होगा, पर वो आए नहीं. I could see Kishan Sarup Prabhu. There, so many people were there.
Was this in Millie Ahuja's house?
नहीं, इसमें था, अपना श्याम व्रजपति के घर पे था.
अच्छा, उनके घर में, क्योंकि कल मिली आहूजा के घर में भी हुआ था उधर.
उसके एक हफ्ता पहले अरविंद रंजिस में भी हुआ था. तो
दुबई इज अ हैपनिंग प्लेस. ये सब चीजें होती रहती हैं उधर. So you should make the best out of it.
Great. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much for your time. Hope to see you soon again. Very quickly.
Hare Krishna. Take care,
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Let's chant Vaishnav Pranam mantra before we leave. Vancha
Vancha
kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namaha. Ananta koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Radhapada ki jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Thank you,
Thank you
Prabhu.
very much.